Rachel Monroe lay stretched out on the slim examination bed, her eyes fixed on the stark white ceiling panels as the ultrasound wand glided slowly across her lower stomach. The room was almost silent, broken only by the faint mechanical buzz of the machine and the measured breaths she was forcing herself to take. She had been through this process many times before alongside her husband, Andrew, yet today felt unmistakably different. Without warning, Dr. Caleb Wright stopped moving the probe. Rachel noticed immediately. He leaned in toward the monitor, his brows pulling together, lips flattening into a tight line. For several long moments, he said nothing at all. Rachel swallowed hard. "Is something wrong?" she asked quietly. Dr. Wright cleared his throat but did not respond right away. Instead, he adjusted the angle of the screen and examined it again. Then he gently set the probe aside and turned to face her. "Who has been overseeing your care up until today?" he asked. A small, uneasy knot tightened in Rachel's chest. "My husband," she answered. "Dr. Andrew Monroe, he's a gynecologist as well." The atmosphere in the room instantly changed. Dr. Wright became very still. For a moment, he simply studied her, as though carefully selecting each word. When he finally spoke, his tone was low and controlled. "Rachel, I need you to listen to me very carefully. What I am seeing inside your body should not be there." Her heart began to race. "What do you mean?" she whispered. He rose slowly, as if abrupt movement might worsen the situation. "There is something inside your uterus that does not belong there. It is not natural tissue. It is not a benign growth. It appears to be a foreign object that has been inside your body for a long time." A wave of cold washed over her. "A foreign object," she repeated. Dr. Wright nodded. "And the presence of this raises extremely serious concerns about how it got there and who placed it inside you." In that instant, everything Rachel believed about her life and marriage began to fracture. Until then, she had never doubted the man she had built her world around. Andrew Monroe was not only her husband, he was her physician, her guardian, the voice she trusted above all others when it came to her health. They had been married for 15 years. Friends described them as dependable and unshakable, the type of couple who never argued in public and always appeared united. Andrew was highly respected at his private women's health clinic in Phoenix. Patients praised his gentle manner and steady hands. Rachel used to feel proud when people told her she was fortunate to be married to such a caring doctor. For a long time, she believed it herself. Whenever Rachel complained of pain, Andrew would smile softly and assure her it was nothing serious. He explained that her body was simply changing as she aged. He spoke about hormones and cycles in ways that made her feel foolish for worrying at all. "Trust me," he always said. "I know your body better than anyone." And she believed him. She believed him when the cramps intensified. She believed him when her menstrual cycle became erratic. She believed him when he blamed her exhaustion and discomfort on stress and work. Rachel had always wanted children, maybe not right away, but eventually. Andrew agreed, always adding not yet. First, they needed stability. First, they needed comfort. There would be time later. She trusted that promise too. Only now did Rachel realize how much control she had surrendered without realizing it. She had handed Andrew access to her home, her heart, and her health. And when one person controls all three, you never expect danger. You assume you are safe. Sitting on the examination table in Dr. Wright's office, that belief finally began to shatter. The man she loved and the man who treated her body were the same, and suddenly, that fact felt terrifying. For 6 long months, Rachel had been living in a body that no longer felt like her own. The pain arrived in sharp, sudden waves, like something inside her was clenching and refusing to release. Some days, she could barely stand upright. Other days, she pushed through because Andrew insisted it was nothing serious. Her cycle became erratic. Bleeding would start and stop unpredictably. Sometimes it lasted far too long. Other times, it vanished altogether. Each change made her more uneasy, yet every time she voiced concern, Andrew already had an explanation. "This is normal for women your age," he would say. "Your hormones are shifting. Stress can do strange things. He spoke so calmly that Rachel began doubting herself. She wondered if she was being overly anxious or dramatic. Andrew had spent years in medical school and decades in practice. Who was she to question him? Still, a quiet inner voice refused to be silenced. The pain felt unlike anything she had known before, deeper, heavier, relentless. Andrew had stopped ordering tests. He never suggested imaging. He never referred her to another specialist. When she asked if she should see someone else, he laughed gently and kissed her forehead. "Why would you need anyone else when you have me?" he said. It should have sounded loving. Instead, it made her feel trapped. One night, the pain became unbearable. Rachel collapsed onto the bathroom floor, shaking. Andrew handed her medication and told her to relax. She obeyed, but fear lodged itself in her chest. A body does not scream without reason. Deep down, Rachel knew this was not age or stress. It was something else, something hidden, something no one was telling her the truth about. Rachel waited until Andrew left town for a medical conference before making the call. Her hands trembled as she scheduled an appointment with Dr. Caleb Wright. It felt wrong to go behind her husband's back, but the pain had driven her past fear into desperation. The clinic sat across the city in a modern building filled with bright windows and spotless white walls. No one there knew her. No one had any reason to protect Andrew. That alone made her feel safer. Dr. Wright listened attentively as Rachel described her symptoms. He did not interrupt. He did not dismiss her. When she finished, he nodded thoughtfully and recommended an ultrasound. The room darkened as the screen flickered on. At first, Rachel did not understand what she was seeing. It was only when Dr. Wright fell silent that tension filled the air. He adjusted the probe. Changed the angle. Studied the image longer than felt comfortable. Then he stopped. Rachel could make out the shape on the screen even if she didn't understand it. A dark, uneven form appeared where nothing should have been. "What is that?" she asked. Dr. Wright inhaled slowly. "There is something inside your uterus that should not be there." Rachel felt lightheaded. "I don't understand," she whispered. "It appears to be a foreign object," he replied. "Something embedded in your tissue for a very long time." Rachel shook her head. "I've never had anything inserted. I'm afraid of procedures like that. My husband knows this." "Doctor." Wright studied her carefully. "Then we need to determine how it got there." The silence that followed felt heavy and suffocating. Rachel understood then that this was no longer just about pain. It was about something done to her without her knowledge, something that could not be explained away, something that would change her life. "Doctor." Wright moved away from the monitor and sat across from her. His expression remained calm, but a seriousness in his eyes made her stomach twist. "I need to order blood tests and advanced imaging," he said. "The tissue surrounding the object is inflamed. That usually means it's been there a long time and your body has been reacting to it." Rachel pressed her palms against her thighs to steady them. "Is it dangerous?" she asked. "Doctor." Wright paused briefly, just long enough to be honest. "It can be. Chronic inflammation in the uterus can lead to serious complications, including infection, scarring, and in some cases, cellular changes that increase cancer risk." The word cancer struck like a physical blow. Rachel's breath caught. He printed a referral and slid it toward her. "You need to go to the county hospital today. They have the surgical team and imaging equipment necessary to remove this safely." "I do not recommend waiting." Rachel stared at the paper. "Remove it," she whispered. "Yes," he said. "Whatever this is, it does not belong inside you." Nothing felt real anymore. "How could something be inside me without my knowledge?" she asked. Dr. Wright looked at her gravely. "The only way a foreign device ends up inside someone is if another person placed it there." Rachel went cold. "There's something else," he added. "Given the circumstances, I strongly advise you to contact law enforcement. Inserting a device into someone without consent is a serious crime." A crime. The word echoed in her mind. She left the clinic in a daze, gripping the referral. That morning, she had been a woman with unexplained pain. Now she was being told she was the victim of something far more sinister. In the parking lot, she sat in her car, staring at the steering wheel. Only one person had ever had access to her body. Only one person had been present every time she was vulnerable. The realization was terrifying, but impossible to deny. Rachel was admitted to the county hospital within hours. Everything moved quickly in a blur of paperwork, harsh lights, and urgent voices. Before she could fully process it, she was being wheeled into surgery. Dr. Leonard Hale was assigned as her surgeon. His voice was calm as he explained the procedure. They would remove the object and clean the surrounding tissue. He warned that the inflammation appeared severe and that samples would be taken for testing. Rachel nodded, fear twisting inside her. When she awoke, her throat was dry and her body felt heavy. Dr. Hale stood beside her bed. "The procedure was successful," he said. "We removed the object." He held up a clear container. Inside was a dark, corroded metal device shaped like a twisted frame. "That was inside me?" Rachel asked in disbelief. "Yes," he replied. "And it's been there for many years." "What is it?" she whispered. "It's an intrauterine device," he said, "but not a modern one." This model was banned over a decade ago due to severe risks. "Risks like what?" she asked. Dr. Hale met her gaze. "Chronic inflammation and increased cancer risk." Tears welled in her eyes. "It also has a serial number," he added. "We'll trace where it came from." He explained that surrounding tissue showed damage and had been sampled for abnormal cells. "We caught this just in time," he said, "but you'll need close follow-up." Rachel turned her head away, nausea rising. Something dangerous had been inside her for years, and someone had put it there. That evening, a woman in a dark suit entered her hospital room. Her badge caught the light. "Detective Sophia Grant," she introduced herself. Her voice was calm but direct. "Who had access to you while you were unconscious?" Rachel didn't hesitate. 8 years ago, I had my appendix removed. My husband insisted it be done at his clinic. He said he would oversee everything himself. Detective Grant wrote it down. "Did anyone else treat you that day?" "I don't know," Rachel admitted. "Andrew handled everything," the detective nodded. "That's important." Hours later, she returned with news. "The device removed from you has been traced. Its serial number was logged as destroyed 8 years ago at your husband's clinic." Rachel closed her eyes. "So it came from him," she whispered. "Yes," Detective Grant said. "And records show he personally signed off on its disposal." Rachel felt grief and relief collide inside her. Grief because the truth was devastating. And relief because she was no longer crazy for doubting. "Your tissue tests also came back," the detective added. "You have severe precancerous changes caused by long-term exposure to that device." Rachel's hands trembled. "If you had not gone to doctor right when you did, you would likely have developed cancer within a year or two." The words settled heavily between them. Detective Grant looked at her gently. "We are opening a criminal case against your husband." And in that moment, Rachel understood that her marriage was truly over. 3 days after her surgery, Rachel left the hospital and drove straight to Andrew's clinic. Detective Grant had given her permission to retrieve any personal items and look for documents related to her care. The building felt strangely quiet as she walked inside. In Andrew's office, everything looked the same. The desk, the diplomas, the framed photos of their trips together. It was a perfect stage for a lie. As she searched, a young woman stepped into the doorway. She wore a nurse's uniform and held something small in her hand. Rachel recognized her. "Emily Ross." The nurse looked startled to see her. "Dr. Monroe said, you were still in the hospital," Emily said nervously. Rachel's eyes moved to what the nurse was holding. "A pregnancy test," Rachel's heart sank. "Is it his?" she asked softly. Emily froze. Then Rachel noticed the ring on her finger. It was nearly identical to her own wedding ring. "He promised he would leave you," Emily whispered. "He said you could not have children and that your marriage was already over." Rachel felt the last illusion break. Emily had 2 children with Andrew, a boy named Noah and a little girl named Lily. He supported them, he visited them. He had built a second life. While Rachel was suffering, he was becoming a father. The cruelty of it took her breath away. The man who had taken her chance at motherhood had given it freely to someone else. Rachel left the clinic with her mind spinning and drove straight home. For the first time in years, she walked into Andrew's private office and sat down at his computer. She guessed the password easily. It was his mother's birthday. A folder on the desktop caught her eye. Forever Now. Inside were hundreds of photos. Andrew holding two small children, Emily smiling beside him. Family trips, birthdays, holidays. But the worst part was the messages. Rachel opened one and felt her stomach drop. "Do not worry," Andrew had written. "I solved the problem with Rachel during her surgery. She will never have children, and we can build our life together without complications." There were bank records, too. Monthly payments to Emily for their children, an apartment in her name, insurance policies. Andrew had planned everything. He had taken control of Rachel's body so he could live another life. Rachel copied the files to a flash drive. These were not just secrets. They were proof, and they would destroy him. Andrew came home that evening carrying flowers as if nothing had changed. He smiled when he saw Rachel sitting in his office. "There you are," he said. "I was worried about you." Rachel turned the computer screen toward him. Andrew's smile vanished. His messages to Emily filled the display. His confession stared back at him. "What is this?" he asked weakly. Rachel held up the clear container from the hospital. "This is what you put inside me," she said. "This is what has been destroying my body for 8 years." Andrew stepped forward, reaching for it. "Give me that." Rachel moved back. "You stole my right to choose," she said. "You stole my health so you could have children with another woman." Andrew opened his mouth to speak, but the front door burst open. Detective Grant walked in with 2 officers. "Andrew Monroe, you are under arrest for causing serious bodily harm and medical assault." Andrew's knees buckled. Emily rushed in behind them crying. She told the officers everything: how he lied, how he said Rachel was infertile, how he promised to leave. Andrew was led away in handcuffs. Rachel watched him go, feeling nothing but empty relief. The courtroom was packed when Andrew Monroe was brought in. Doctors, reporters, and curious strangers filled every seat. Rachel sat in the front row, holding her hands together to keep them steady. One by one, the truth came out. Dr. Caleb Wright explained what he had seen on the ultrasound. Dr. Leonard Hale described the banned device removed from Rachel's body. Detective Sophia Grant presented the serial number records that traced it back to Andrew's clinic. Then Emily Ross took the stand. With tears in her eyes, she told the court how Andrew had lied to her. He said Rachel was born infertile. He said their marriage was already over. He said he had taken care of the problem. The messages were read aloud. Andrew's own words left no room for doubt. Rachel testified last. She spoke calmly about the pain, the fear, and the years of being told she was imagining things. "I trusted him with my body," she said. "He used that trust to destroy my future." The judge listened in silence. When the verdict was read, Andrew was found guilty of serious bodily harm and medical assault. His medical license was revoked forever. He was sentenced to prison and ordered to pay Rachel for the damage he had done. Justice had finally spoken. 1 year later, Rachel's life looked nothing like it once had. The fear that used to live in her chest had slowly been replaced by something quieter and stronger. Peace. Her medical checkups showed that the damage in her body had stopped progressing. The dangerous changes caused by the device were under control. She would need monitoring for the rest of her life, but she was no longer living under a death sentence. Rachel had also made another choice. She adopted a little girl named Grace. The child had lost her parents and needed a safe place to grow. Rachel needed someone to love and protect. They healed each other. Every morning when Grace ran into her arms, calling her mom, Rachel felt something inside her finally settle. She had lost the future she once imagined. But she had built a new one that was honest, one that was safe, one that no man controlled. Sometimes she still remembered the woman she used to be, the woman who trusted blindly. She did not hate her. She thanked her for surviving long enough to escape. And that was the greatest victory of all. If there is one thing Rachel wants every woman to hear, it is this. Never ignore the voice inside you that says something is wrong. The most dangerous people are not strangers. They are the ones who wear kindness like a mask and use your trust against you. Rachel lost her marriage, her health, and the life she thought she was going to live. But she found something far more powerful: her truth, her freedom, and a future that belongs to her. If this story moved you, please like this video so more people can see it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and tell me in the comments what city you are watching from and what time it is where you are right now. This is the art of revenge, where truth always finds its way back. Subscribe for more real-life stories, and never forget you deserve honesty, safety, and respect.